people are indeed panicking about the Thunder, including, the thing says including Tracy. Are you panicking? Kind of panicking.
That sounds like
borderline panicking. Carmelo Anthony, however, not one of them. He spoke yesterday about the team being angry but not frustrated that they are losing. He also had a nice, this was a soft, nuanced answer to a question about a lineup change. Quote, no, hell no, no, not at all. We're fine, man. And Trace, I do have to say, you said basically, you and Paul sat up here to me yesterday. I brought up Dwayne Wade. He's flourished with Cleveland's second unit, right? Should Melo consider it too? Not even that he comes off the bench, but just for lineup changes. You and Paul Pierce both jumped down my throat. Nope.
Well, I kind of agree with you because of, I think, the flexibility it gives their team in terms of more shots for Paul George, having him, put him in a position to where he can excel with these guys, because right now he's not being who he is. That's a playmaker, that's a scorer. Like having Melo out there, having all three of those guys out there, you got a stagnant offense. So I think if you bring somebody in like a Patterson off the bench who would take less shots, less is better for this team in the starting lineup. That necessarily don't devalue you, Melo, as a player. It's just what's the greater good for our team right now.
I agree with what you're saying from a rotation standpoint. I don't know if it's a starting lineup issue, though. I mean, if you look at the numbers, the starting lineup that they run with, that we all know and love, in the first half of games, they're really good. They're plus 18.
Right.
They're shooting great. They're one of the best defensive units. In the second half, it falls off a cliff. And a lot of it is because they get away from what they're doing in the beginning of the game, and it turns into my turn, your turn. And so what you're saying, Trace, I agree 100%. Somebody has to be out. You can't have all three guys out there the whole time just for basketball sanity, not because.
Well, that's the thing. So I'll give you credit, Tracy. You did agree with me about the rotations, but you and Paul both were like, no, it's not time for Melo not to be a starter. And I understand that philosophy, and that certainly seems what Melo is reacting to. It's just sometimes not about that of like, oh, you were a bench player. It's just more of like, how do we move these chips around in the right
I want to ask Tracy a question. As a Hall of Famer, a great player, would you rather not start a game but finish a game, or would you rather start a game but at the end of the game you're not playing?
No, I'm finishing.
Right. See, and I think that's the harder, because their fourth quarters are terrible.
Yeah.
And they have to fix that. But I think the fix is sitting one of those guys, and I don't know as a coach how you have that conversation with.
But I think still, even if Melo doesn't start, he will play 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
He would get starters minutes. I think for the balance, though.
Right.
Allow Russ to get in the rhythm and be who he is or who he was last season. Allow Paul George to have more touches, be more of a playmaker, have Russ off the ball.
But that's hard. I mean, I know with you.
It is hard.
When you thought of yourself as a starter, and you've been a huge superstar your entire career, led the league in scoring twice, having to adjust to a different role is difficult.
15 years doing the league, and I think if the way his career went, I think you have to strongly consider that, because you are on a great contender team for a championship.
Right. I don't know. I mean, we heard him at training camp, right? That quote I read of you, that was from yesterday. This was Thunder Media Day.
I love this. Or the concept of starting at the 4 or even coming off the bench. And the second question is...
Well, me?
Oh. I guess that answers that part.
I mean, I don't know where that started, where that came from. Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
I mean, look, we love Melo. Like, I get it. No one's saying, I don't think anybody involved in this discussion, I want to make that clear, is saying Melo's a bench player now. It's just more of where you move the pieces around.
A three-time champion, NBA champion, I don't know how many All-Stars D-Wade.
Finals MVP.
Finals MVP. If he's able to sacrifice for the greater good of that team over there, you got to look at that.
And sort of, well, right, and also embrace that role. And sort of, he's got the whole second unit to run now, and that's kind of fun for him.
When you win, all that goes down.
Right.